Hello, welcome to the module Human Resource Information Systems. In this presentation, we are going to look at strategic alignment of human resource information systems. So by the end of this presentation, you will be able to develop strategies for effectively implementing and integrating human resource information systems to existing human resource processes and systems to demonstrate the ability to leverage human resource information system data and analytics to make informed decisions and support strategic human resource initiatives to apply best practices in data management and security to protect sensitive human resource information within the human resource information systems, and finally, to evaluate the impact of the human resource information systems on employee engagement, productivity, and overall organizational performance. Now, let us look at the definition of a strategic alignment. Strategic alignment refers to the process of connecting human resource information systems initiatives with the overall strategic objectives of the organization. It ensures that human resource information systems supports and enhances the achievement of organizational goals. So when you talk of organizational strategic objectives, it's all about the long-term achievement or the long-term target of the organization in terms of competition. So for the organization to be very competitive in the industry or in the business, it must have a very competitive workforce. Otherwise, if the workforce is not competitive, not talented, then there's no way the organization can be very competitive in the future. So it's very important to always align the strategic objective of the organization or with the one of the human resource information systems. Now let us look at the benefits of strategic alignment. One is improving decision making. The strategic alignment of human resource information systems provides accurate and real-time data for informed decision making at all levels. The top management, the middle management can have access to the system, and by them having the access to the system, they will be able to know the performance of the employee, the qualification of the employees, and the training level of the employees because the data is already available in the system. So by doing that, they are going to come up with a very improved decision instead of making a wrong decision. The next one is increased efficiency. By aligning the human resource information system with the strategic goals, organizations can automate processes, reduce manual efforts, and streamline workflows. When talk of the manual efforts, is all about doing the paperwork. You fill the data on a paper, and then it has to be kept in a cupboard or whatever, or wherever you want to keep them. So by doing that, you are actually not going to be efficient because filling the file manually takes time. For example, if you're looking for the name of a particular employee, with the system, you just search, the name comes, all the information about that person comes, then you update it. But if you are using the hard copy or you are doing it manually, then you keep on looking for the name. It might even take you 2 3 hours looking for that particular file. So by implementing the strategic human resource information system and aligning it with the organizational goal, you are able to increase the efficiency of your workers. The next one, enhance employee experience. The strategic human resource information system alignment empowers employees with self-service capabilities, access to information, and personalized experiences. So you can talk of employees portal. This allows the employees to apply for a leave, to apply for maybe advanced payment, etc., things like that. So without necessarily going to the human resource office or the finance office, that one will give them the real personalized experience because they can even apply from home during the weekend. But the systems will not just approve it automatically, it has to be approved by the administrators. For example, if the employee is applying for a leave, the systems will not approve it automatically, but the admin should be able to approve his or her application of leave. Now, let us look at the steps for strategic alignment. Step number one is you need to identify organizational goals. So understand organizational strategic objectives and how the HR can contribute to their achievement. So if the strategic objective of the organization is to have branches across the country, okay, so how can the HR align that objectives to its system? HR can talk of about employees' productivity, employees' flexibility, okay, and also employees' retention. Because if you have committed workers, you have people who are flexible, you can easily take them to work in other field offices. If the head office is in Juba, then you can take them to go and work in Maridi, or you can take them to work in Yei because they are very, very flexible and committed to the organization. Number two is align HR objectives. So you need to define HR objectives that align with organizational goals such as talent acquisition, retention, and development. So for you to have a developed workforce, you need to have align it with organizational objective. If the organization is talking about employee retention, that is the objective of the organization. It wants to retain employees. As the HR, what do you do? Of course, you need to develop the employee because you cannot retain someone who has not developed. You cannot retain someone who is not talented or skillful. So you need to look at that perspective. The next step now is you need to evaluate the human resource information system's capability. So you need to assess the current HR system and capability and then identify gaps or enhancements required to support the strategic objectives. For example, if you are using a different system, now you want to upgrade to the new one, you need to evaluate the ability of the current one and then compare it with the ability of the potential system which you want to implement in the organization. That is under step number three. Then step number four is you need to develop an implementation plan. So create a roadmap to align the HRIS initiatives with organizational goals, including timelines, resources, and the milestones. The resources can be in terms of finance, for sure, the system. The resources can also be in terms of the human resource, people who are knowledgeable about the systems in terms of installation and in terms of training to be given to the employees, etc. Then the timelines could be the deadline. For example, when do you plan to implement the system? Is it this year or by the end of next year? You need to have that one clearly. Easy. So these are some of the steps of aligning human resource information system with the one of the organizational objectives. Now let us look at integration of human resource information system with talent management. Aligning human resource information system with the talent management goals enables efficient recruitment, onboarding, performance management, and the succession planning. That's all about talent management. If you want to talk about talent management, you cannot fail to talk about performance management. If you don't manage the performance of your employees, then you will not determine whether you have a workforce full of talent. Performance management helps you to identify gaps in employee performance. By you identifying the gaps in employee performance, you are going to rectify those gaps. If it means training them, you're going to train them to make sure that their talent is updated. Also, the succession plan is if you are planning someone to succeed. For example, uh, the human resource manager has left the organization, so who is going to succeed? Who is going to occupy that office? That one comes back to talent management. You need to have someone already in line for that position. As human resource manager, you need to have that always in mind. Who is to be where in case maybe the other person has left? If the director has left, who's supposed to be replacing him? If the senior administrator has left, who's supposed to be replacing him? That's what we call a succession plan. The next one is the human resource information system can facilitate data-driven talent decisions, identify key skills gaps, and support career development initiatives. I've already explained if you discover that there is a gap in the employee performance and you want to manage their talent. So there is a need for you to develop them. And how do you develop them? By training them. You develop them by promoting them to the highest office so that their career is enhanced. The next one is integration of human resource information system and talent management enhances human resources strategic role in attracting, developing, and retaining top talent. For you to be competitive, you need to have the most talented workforce, and you need to retain them. To retain a talented workforce is not something easy because the competitors in the industry are looking for such kind of talent. And if you don't have the retention strategy in place, you will find yourself losing most of your talented assets or workforce to your competitors. And what happens if you have lost them? Of course, they are going to create a very huge gap. Who's going to fill the gap? So it means you need to go and start advertising for the position. You may end up selecting someone who's not competent enough for that position. So retaining top talent is not something easy, but you need to have a retention strategy to help you in doing that. So basically, these are some of the elements under integration of the human resource information systems with the talent management in the organization. Now let us look at the employee self-service and the engagement as part of alignment of the human resource information. The human resource information system can offer employees a self-service portal for accessing personal information, submitting leave requests, and updating profiles. Like I've told you, the system should not just allow the approval of the submission. It has to be approved by the management, but the system can accept the submission, but approvals will be pending. Okay, that they mean approval. Because if the system has no ability to to keep it pending, waiting admin approval, then it will be very difficult for the admin to regulate the employees' request. For example, if 3 or 4 employees have all applied at the same time for leave, the system keeps on accepting, approving. So you find yourself having 5 or 10 employees on leave same time. And what happens is that they're going to leave behind a huge gap which is supposed to be fulfilled. The next one is by aligning human resource information systems with the employee engagement strategies, organizations can foster a culture of transparency, collaboration, and empowerment. So let us talk about employee empowerment. How do you empower your employee? You don't need to come to the human resource office all the time asking for leave or to apply for leave. You don't need to go to the finance office asking for payment or advance payment. All they need to do is log into the system, then do that by themselves. That's what we call employee empowerment. Okay. Then collaboration, of course, you work as a team. The human resource department collaborating with the finance department. You even find that the employee who's applying for the leave is not from the human resource department, but is from the logistics department, but is trying to apply for a leave. That's what we call collaboration or teamwork. Then transparency. Okay, there is always honesty the information generated from the system. For example, if the employee has applied for the leave, who has influenced that employee? No one. Okay, that's what we call transparency. So these are some of the elements of self-service as part of human resource information management systems. The next one is features like employee surveys, recognition programs, and communication tools within the human resource information system promote engagement and boost productivity. The employee recognition can happen when he or she has extremely done well or has achieved something for organization. So such employee has to be recognized. The idea of recognition is to make sure that the employee keeps motivated, and also those who are not doing well, they also learn from it, they'll be motivated, so that next time they will be the one to win the prize. So it's all about improving organizational productivity when we do the recognition programs activities in the organization. So the systems will have such kind of features or characteristics which support recognition programs for the employees. Now let us look at some of the challenges of, let us look at the change management and training. Change management and training. The strategic alignment of human resource information systems requires effective change management and training programs. Employees need to be trained on new human resource information system features, processes, and benefits to ensure successful adoption. This system is new. No one has known about it. So as a manager, you need to train the employees on how to navigate or how to use the system. Otherwise, if you don't really train them on some of the features of this system, they will face some challenges, especially people who are going to be administering it or running it. Okay, you're giving task or you're giving data to be entered in the system, but the person who is entering the system was not trained. That means there is going to be a lot of errors. There's going to be what you call job dissatisfaction. And when the employee is not satisfied with the job, of course, chances are high that he or she might be tempted to leave the organization. So it's very important to train each and every employee in the organization on how the system can be used. So change management activities will address employee concerns, communicate the value of the human resource information system alignment, and provide ongoing support. The ongoing support can be in terms of if the employee has some challenges in accessing his account or the portal, there should be a team ready to help him or her in accessing the account to find out where the problem is and then put it in order. Basically, that is how you manage change and training as part of strategic alignment of the human resource information system. Now, let us look at the measuring success. So, you need to establish key performance indicators to measure the success of a strategic human resource information system. A performance indicator can be the efficiency of the process or the system, the employee satisfaction in terms of using the system, and then the reduction in the administrative costs, okay, or increase in the talent retention. So that is how you measure the success of the system. So if the employees are not satisfied with the system, then the system is not doing well. So as the management, you need to take it into a very serious consideration. You need to investigate why the employees are not satisfied with the system to see maybe the system is very complicated to use. It can help you in modifying the system or even to get another software. So reducing the administrative cost, if the cost is not reduced, the cost is still high, then the system has not done enough. So that is how you measure the success of the human resource management information system just employed in organization. Now let us look at the best practices for strategic alignment. You need to involve the human resource and IT team. Okay, the human resource will help in matters to do with the employee data, professionality, and then the IT team will help in matters to do with the technicality of the system. So you cannot work alone as the human resource department. You need to collaborate, especially with the IT department. So you need to conduct regular needs assessment. So you need to evaluate capabilities of your system, then identify areas which needs improvement. So this will help you to have a system which is easily manageable, a system which is reliable, a system which is very accurate and can give you the required results you want. Then you also need to seek feedback from the end users. The end users are the employees now whose data you have entered in the system. They are supposed to have access to their data. They're supposed to have access to their account. So get feedback from them in terms of their experience. Okay, whether the system is very complicated to use, whether the system is easy to use, it's very important for you to evaluate the, the system based on the information you are receiving from the end user. So these are some of the best practices and a strategic alignment of the human resource information. Now let us look at the benefits of linking the human resource information systems to the human resource planning. One is that it improves better accuracy. So human resource information systems provides a centralized platform for accurate and up-to-date employment or employee information. This is when you want to access it at any time. Okay, during the weekend you can access the information. Even at night or later hours, you can still access the information without change, unless if someone has manipulated the system by changing the data. But otherwise, if the system is not tampered with, the information is always accurate. Then it enhances human resource planning. Planning in terms of like succession plan, talent development, etc., depends also on the human resource information system. Because if you want to talk about a succession plan, who is next to succeed, maybe the manager in the organization, the information is already in the systems. The information in terms of his or her performance, the information in terms of his academic qualifications, and the other aspect related to the employment is available online. The human resource department will just evaluate who fits and where. The next one is strategic decision making. The human resource information system integration enables the human resource teams to generate meaningful insight for workforce planning, recruitment, and the resource allocation. Before they think of recruitment, they have to look at the number of the employees in the organization. The system will tell them exactly how many workers they have in the organization and also their performance. Okay. So before actually the human resource thinks of recruitment, what they do is they conduct what they call manpower planning. The manpower planning will help them to determine whether the organization is facing the problem of manpower shortage or manpower surplus. So that information is available on the system. So basically, these are some of the benefits of linking the human resource information system to human resource planning. Now let us look at the human resource planning with the human resource information system integration. The human resource information system data can be used to forecast future workforce needs based on the current employee demographics, retirement projection, and anticipated business growth. For example, if you are expecting the business to grow, what does that one come to your mind as the human resource? Of course, you need additional manpower. Okay. And for you to think of having additional manpower, but you first have to visit the system to check what do you have at your disposal. You might have redundant workers who could actually help in fixing those gaps. So that's why the aspect of now the human resource planning comes in when the organization is expected to grow. So by analyzing the human resource information system data, the human resource teams can identify potential skills, shortage, succession plan requirements, and design targeted recruitment strategy. Like I've told you before, the planning will now help the human resource to either recruit new employees or to retain the current one and then maybe give them additional training, expand their job description, or by promoting them to the new position, etc. So that is how the human resource planning is very important when we integrate it to the human resource information systems. Now let us look at some of the challenges in linking the human resource information systems to the human resource planning. One is the data quality and integrity. You might have data which is not from a reliable source. For example, if you are conducting performance appraisal, then that data, the result of the appraisal is entered into the system. But the person who conducted, or the person who evaluated the employee's performance was biased. That means the quality of that data is already affected, even the integrity. It was not professional. So it becomes a challenge. Then privacy and security. The information on the system does not come from heaven. Okay, the information is fed by the human being, the employees of the organization. So it means the sensitive information of the employees can be easily accessed. So now it becomes very, very tricky to keep such information secret. But the human resource, they are trained actually to keep employee information secret. So as human resource manager, you need to look at someone whom you trust, someone who's professional to handle such sensitive information. Because once the information is leaked, the employee's productivity is going to go low because of what you call the stigmatization. So what happens is that when the employee is stigmatized, his productivity goes low, and eventually he or she might even resign from the work because of the impact of stigmatization. The next one is change management. Some employees will look at the new system as a way of knocking them out of the organization because they don't have the skills. They might assume that the human resource is going to employ people who are going to run the system. So you need to train them, okay? Explain to them the advantage or why you are deploying the new system, then train them on how to use it so that no one will feel unsafe in the organization, so that no one will resist the change. So manage the change very well by training them, by communicating to them why you are shifting to the new system. So the mitigating challenge of data quality and the integrity, how do we mitigate the challenge? One is you need to regularly audit the data and then cleanse them. Okay. Once you've received the information, you need to verify the source of that information, the credibility of that information. Okay, I gave you the example of performance appraisal results. You need to assess it, make sure that the person who has praised the employees is not biased in any way. And that one can be done through having multiple raters, okay, or multiple evaluators. Compare it and then you see which results is good with it. Then you need to implement data validation rules and error checking mechanism to minimize data discrepancies. So the error checking mechanism in terms of having a second eye, okay, someone to supervise. Second eye is very important. If the first eye has not seen the mistake, then the second eye is always available to check those errors. Then let us look at the best practices for linking the human resource investment system to the human resource planning. One is you need to establish clear goals and objectives for the human resource information system integration. What do you intend to achieve? Are you improving on the system or do you want to improve on a specific aspect of the human resource management if that is about talent acquisition or if it's about retention? So you need to establish the goal very clearly and then communicate it to the employees in the organization. Then ensure top-down support. So when you talk of top-down support, we are talking about the top management support. Okay, we need to look for the support of the top managers because they are the one to finance the project. The human resource does not have the money. The money comes from the finance department, the approval from the highest office. So look for their support, involve them in decision making, consult with them, explain to them why you want to change the system. Then lastly, you need to collaborate with the IT and the HR teams to develop a comprehensive integration strategy. Like I've told you from the beginning, the IT will handle the technical part of the system, while the human resource will handle the professional part of it because the human resource is basically about employee records. It's all about employee data. So these are some of the best practices for linking the human resource information systems to human resource planning. That's what I had for you in this presentation. Thank you so much for watching. We meet in the next presentation.